Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video. I'm going to talk about some newly shown SH Figuarts figures, and this time it is going to be from the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, the Knights of Ren. So this is very cool. Didn't really expect to get all the Knights of Ren from Figuarts. This isn't all of them. There are a few more if I'm not mistaken. However, they're doing 5, which is a ton, and I'm quite excited about it. So overall, I'm really excited for the Knights of Ren. They always piqued my interest back in 2015 with the Force Awakens, and now finally getting to see them and hopefully see them in action. There's been no, shot of them actually fighting in the trailers, in the images, anything like that. However, they do seem to show up in a couple different environments, so I'm hoping that we do get a very cool scene with them. However, I'm really loving their design, even if that's the only thing that we're going to get is their design, basically. Even if they just stand around in the movie, I think that they look very cool. They have a unified look to them, however, they all look extremely different and have extremely different outfits and extremely different weapons. They don't seem like an organized team. They seem like powerful individuals who are working together, which I've always been a fan of the bounty hunters from The Empire Strikes Back. They were kind of somewhat working together, but they all were completely different. And the Knights of Ren remind me of that, to be honest. So I'm very excited to see that Figuarts is actually making some Knights of Ren, because at the moment we don't have many companies making them, outside of Funko, who's making them all. But yeah, so I just picked up actually my first Funko Knight of Ren last night, so I'm happy about that. I don't think I'm going to get them all, but I might get a few. But as far as the Figuarts ones go, they do have quite a bit. Let's get you some slightly larger pictures of them. Here we have these two. Now, the knight on the right here is the one that for some reason everybody's photographing. You can find a million photos of him. However, all the other knights are extremely hard to find photos of from Figuarts. Really, Instagram is the only place that I've been able to find photos of them. Any toy news site that's reporting on the new Figuarts being shown only pictures the one on the right, which I think is very odd. So I'm not quite sure why that's the case, but just wanted to give you a heads up with that. But going over the actual designs for them, they're all 100% different. Nothing's reused between them. Even the hands, I think, are all different, too, which is very cool. I think that my favorite design knight is going to be this one. I do like it quite a bit. I think that his massive blade looks really cool and menacing. As you can see, he does have a little dagger that is stored on his actual costume himself. It looks like he has some soft rubber bits with the pieces that come down here and possibly the pieces attached to his head. Really like this helmet design, though. I think that he looks very cool. And as you can see, it does seem to have your standard Figuarts articulation. The one on the right just looks just as good, I must say. It's just a completely different design, though. I do like the kind of detonators that he has on his belt, on his chest. I think that looks very cool. I assume this is some sort of sheath for a gun. It's hard to see if that's a gun there or not. His kind of club is his weapon, which I don't think is a particularly interesting weapon compared to the other ones, but it's still neat. I do like his helmet design as well, but again, I think that I prefer this helmet design. I think it looks a little neater, a little cooler. And then overall, he does seem to have great articulation with a big butterfly joint. I wonder how much his range is on that butterfly joint, because it looks quite intense. And then the other three, these are the least interesting ones, I think. Well, to be honest, I'm not quite sure. They all have some interesting elements to them, and they're all very intriguing, I must say. Overall, do like this helmet design, although I think that this feels more trooperish than any of the other ones, to be honest. And then he just has 2 blasters, one large one and one kind of hand blaster. His outfit, though, I feel like is the least interesting of them all. There's just not a whole lot going on there. This is the only knight that Black Series is doing as of right now, at least. But overall, he does seem to have a kind of big kind of robe going on, which is similar to this. However, you actually get to see a little bit more interesting detailing in some of the legs, which also means better articulation. He does come with like a big kind of sickle, almost sickle-like bat thing, which is an interesting weapon, I must say. But he does look very cool. I'm a big fan of that one's helmet. I think that he's got a great-looking helmet. And then the one on the right here, he basically has a gun for an arm, if I'm not mistaken. He might actually just have like a big apparatus that's over his arm that has the gun on it, because it almost looks like there's a hand there. But from like the pop that I've seen, it almost feels like that's his arm itself, actually. But I think that's very cool. It's a little more interesting than your just standard blaster, because it's kind of like a little more attached to him. His outfit's pretty interesting, although I'm not a big fan of the kind of almost it's almost like a grayish green outfit. I'm not a big fan of the color of it, but the design of it I do think looks nice. And then his helmet is a little more plain compared to the rest, I must say. Overall, they're just, I love them as a team, again, because they're so different, but yet they look like they're working together, which is very cool, I must say. If I plan to get these, I'm not 100% sure. If Black Series, says or shows that they're making them all, I probably won't get these. However, if Black Series is really only making one, and I would want some Knights of Ren in my collection. Figuarts, being that they're imported figures, can get quite expensive though. To be honest, I think that they're overpriced for what they are most of the time. So I'm not sure if I'll get many of these. If they sell them as a bundle, which I seriously doubt, I might be more interested, assuming that it's a little cheaper because of that, and then you only have to pay the shipping once. So that would be really cool. But if not, I just have to see the price, the release date, and see what the other companies are doing, such as the Black Series, essentially. But if I were to just buy one, it would definitely be the one on the left here. I think that that's my favorite design. I guess let me rank them by how I'd buy them, in what order I'd buy them. Um, Let me just think about it for a second. Okay, I think I know how I'd do it. So my number one would be this one for sure. I like that one's design the best. Number two, I'd have to pick this one because I like the outfit's design. The helmet is interesting. It's not my favorite though, and the weapon's not my favorite, but I like that he has the least amount of like rubber bits on him, so therefore he'll have some really good posability, and I like the grenades on him. I think that looks quite cool. Next up, I'd probably... Okay, if I'm just picking design-wise, I'd probably pick this one. However, since Black Series is making him, I probably wouldn't buy him next just because I'll have the Black Series one for sure. So I'd probably pick this one, just because I kind of like the gun arm. And then in last place, I'd pick this one, I'd say. So that's kind of how I'd rank them based on how I'd buy them / my favorite designs for at least these 5 of them. I'm very excited to see that Figuarts is doing them, though. Really hoping to see some official images of them, especially the price and release date on them. So let me know what you guys think of these new figures, being the Rise of Skywalker, Knights of Ren, and thanks so much for watching.